Have you ever listened to a speaker or read a book from an author who appeared to have it all together? They were never afraid, never insecure, never had anxiety, didn't seem to struggle, didn't have any weaknesses to speak of. And if so, how did that make you feel? Did you find yourself inspired? Or did you feel increasingly discouraged, deflated, and defeated? Hi, I'm Jennifer Slattery with the Faith Over Fear podcast and also the Your Daily Bible Verse podcast. And years ago, I was working with an aspiring writer and speaker, and I was trying to encourage her to reveal more of herself to her audience. Really, I wanted her to show her vulnerability because I knew that would help her build trust, and it would also help her audience to feel safe and begin to help them feel comfortable revealing more of themselves to one another. And she became increasingly frustrated with me. And one day she said to me, it's really hard to show my weaknesses when I have spent a lifetime trying to hide them. And maybe you can relate, especially if you grew up in a critical home or maybe in a rule-based religious system. Maybe you've even had people who have used your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities against you. And if so, you might have absorbed the lie that says that your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities in some way make you defective. And if that's the case, then may the passage I'm about to read, may that act as something of a corrective lens for all of us, how we view our weakness and also how we view the weaknesses and vulnerabilities we see in others as well. So this was on the night before Jesus' death. He'd already shared a special meal with his disciples. They sang a hymn. After that, they crossed over the Kidron Valley and they entered into the Garden of Gethsemane. So this is Mark chapter 14, the New American Standard Bible translation. Starting in verse 32, we read, "They came to a place named Gethsemane, and he said to his disciples, 'Sit here until I have prayed.' And he took with him Peter and James and John and began to be very distressed and troubled. And he said to them, 'My soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch.' And he went a little beyond them and fell to the ground and began to pray that if it were possible, the hour might pass him by. And he was saying, 'Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Remove this cup from me, yet not what I will, but what you will.'" And notice, Peter, James, and John in particular had seen Jesus at one of his most powerful moments. They'd seen what's called, he brought them up to on the top of a mountain for what scholars refer to as the transfiguration, where they saw his glory in, like, he shone before them, like just in this mind-blowing way. So they saw his power and his strength. They saw him quiet a storm. They saw him heal lepers, feed thousands of people from meager amounts of food. And yet he brought these three men, these who he knew would be leaders in the church, he brought them close so that they could see him at his point of weakness. So they could see him. He was deeply, deeply broken. And why would he do that? Why would he invite them close for that time of anguish? I think because he was setting an example for them. He was like, "I am the Savior of the world. I am God the Son. I am the one that was transfigured on the mountain. And I am the one who is kneeling before my Father completely broken." Because there's no shame in brokenness. There is no shame in weakness. In fact, there's incredible courage and strength in being able to show, to safe people, to show our places of vulnerability and to invite them in to be with us in those vulnerable places.